Hey everyone, Brandon here, host of the Devy Deep Dive podcast and creator of the Devy Dashboard. Welcome to my channel and thank you for tuning in. If you're listening to this on my podcast, Devy Deep Dive, welcome as well. Got a great show here today. This is going to be my post-combine top 15 running back show. So again, thank you for tuning in. Hit that subscribe button if you are watching on YouTube. I would really appreciate it, trying to grow this channel, Devy, to Dynasty Football. Got a lot of great content heading our way as we head into the NFL draft. Then I will be flicking the switch, going all into the Devy content, getting you ready for fall ball this year. So let's get right to it, man. Let's talk about this 2022 running back class, right? It's very similar to last year's running back class. It's top heavy, got a couple guys at the top, and then it's going to be whatever your flavor is and whatever guy that you like, you're going to be taking, right? So let's get to it. So I want to before we actually get started, I want to talk about what I look for in running backs. It's one question I get asked all the time. I'm first and foremost a film guy, right? Everything is going to be based on film analysis, what I see on the field. A couple other things I take into consideration is size. I'm a size guy when it comes to running backs, although you're going to see a couple backs here in my top 10 that maybe don't, have the requisite size that I look for. 205 pounds. BMI 28 to 31 is usually the hit rate for guys, being able to really carry the load at the NFL, at the NFL level. So I'm about speed and athleticism. Guys need to be somewhat fast. A couple backs in this show here we're going to talk about kind of disappointed me at the combine on 40. And as a result, I had to lower them just a little bit. Don't want to overreact too much. But athleticism and speed is something that you really need to kind of have as a running back to really be a dynasty asset for us. Target share is something I also look for. We all play in PPR dynasty leagues, right? We want guys that can catch the ball, get that extra point every time they catch one and the additional yardage. So we're going to look at the target share on these backs too, because, you might not be the best interior runner, but if you've got hands and can be used as a third down back and maybe be used, sparingly, they could end up being flex dynasty players on our dynasty roster, right? Guys that we can plug in when we got bye weeks and so on and so forth. So target share, I feel, is really important. And of course, what we don't have yet, the biggest piece of this puzzle, is draft capital. I mean, draft capital matters when it comes to running backs because draft capital equals opportunity, and opportunity is king for running backs. So we don't have that information yet. I'll probably do another one of these shows when we have landing spots. We've got draft capital, so I'll probably definitely do one right after the draft. So be sure to, again, to subscribe to the channel and hit that notification button for all the shows. So let's get right to it, man. Let's get into the top 15 backs. I think my first running back here is not going to be much of a surprise. Coming in at number 1 for me is BREECE Hall out of Iowa State. Now, let's not kid ourselves. I've done a ton of mock drafts over the last 2 or 3 weeks with a lot of industry guys on Twitter and so on and so forth. And really, BREECE Hall is really arguably the 101 of upcoming rookie mock drafts, right? I mean, there's a lot of question marks. Even if you're in a super flex league, I mean, he is coming in as the 101. He seems to be the safest player to draft in your upcoming rookie drafts, right? A lot of question marks, like I said, on these quarterbacks. So why not just take a potential bell cow here? So, this is not a pick that you're probably surprised at all. But BREECE Hall coming in at number 1. I mean, he had a rushing touchdown in 24 straight games this year. He's a 3-down back. He can catch the ball. He's got good lateral movement. He's got natural elusiveness. He's a patient, intelligent runner. I think he breaks tackles really well. Good contact bounce. I mean, he is the whole package, right? I mean, let's look at his athletical profile right here. I'm going to take a little. I'm going to go off the screen here, and I'm going to show you these player profile cards as we go through this list, just so if you haven't seen what he has done at the combine, you can see. But you can see from his athletic testing, he's in the 90th percentile for 40-yard dash, speed, score, and burst. So that all just confirms what we've seen him on the field. He's been just a phenomenal player for 3 years. It's got everything going for him. He should be early. So let's talk about what I'm going to do also with these running backs is I'm going to talk about their draft capital, where you can expect them to go in a rookie draft, as well as what their fantasy dynasty outlook is for us, maybe looking at a 3-year period, right? So this guy, I mean, I saw him. I'm loving mock drafts out there. Love watching mock drafts, reading mock drafts, and he is sometimes sneaking into the end of round 1. So, I mean, he is potentially a round 1 back, a day 2 lock, early round 2 lock, I think, without a doubt. We hope he ends up in one of those juicy spots where there is a vacated opportunity for him to come in. I think from a rookie standpoint, he is the 101 in drafts, like I said earlier. And as far as a fantasy outlook, I think he is definitely a day one starter with a very high ceiling. So BREECE Hall comes in at number 1 for me. Coming in at number 2 is Kenneth Walker. Again, a great season. He originally enrolled at Wake Forest and went to transfer to Michigan State, which was certainly a great decision on his part. Rushed this year for over 1,600 yards. He scored 18 touchdowns. He had 13 receptions for 89 yards and a score too. So that's one of the little knocks on him about his target share. Okay, but he had a 5.4 target share this year, which wasn't really great, but I think it's the bottom floor that we look for in running backs. But he's 5'9", 211 pounds. He runs with a purpose. He's a physical runner, good body strength. He powers through traffic. I think he explodes through holes. He can bounce plays to the outside, which is super important if he can't find and navigate his way through the tackles. I think he's got good vision and acceleration. So again, I mean, I think the first and second backs here probably aren't much of a surprise for you. Looking at his athletic profile here, I mean, look, I mean, he, again, is the 90th percentile when it comes to 40-yard dash and speed score. His burst score was only the 50th percentile, but nonetheless, he really impressed with his 40 time, and he's just an overall solid prospect, okay? So I think for draft capital, I think we're looking at day 2 likely. I'm thinking round 2, maybe the middle, something like that, but I don't think he gets out of a day 2 pick. As far as a rookie pick, he's probably arguably a top 5 pick. Some people are going to reach for Malik Willis in a rookie draft if it's a PPR and maybe take Treylon Burks or Garrett Wilson or something. But Kenneth Walker, from what I've seen in rookie mock drafts, is the second quarterback or second running back rather taken in most drafts. He is an exciting prospect. Hopefully we see him land. As far as a fantasy outlook, I think he's a quality starter. I think if a team drafts him in day 2, they're going to try and plug him right into the lineup day 1 and this fall. So, again, Kenneth Walker, I think, is a solid choice in your upcoming rookie drafts. All right. Coming in at number 3 is probably no surprise either. Isaiah Spiller, guy who's lost a little luster, it feels like, over the course of the year. This time last year as a Devy junkie like myself, I mean, he was arguably the top 2 pick before Kenneth Walker emerged, last year. But nonetheless, he's a top 3 back in most, people's minds. I know he just had his pro day and ran a pretty decent 40. I don't have it off the top of my head, but he didn't really participate at the combine. But man, he was a 3-year starter at Texas A&M, working in the SEC, the best conference in college football. 6 foot, 217 pounds, runs hard. He's got good vision, works well, I think, in between the tackles, has the lateral ability, can jump cut, make defenders miss. He's got good contact balance. He's patient. And he's, a good pass catcher too. I mean, he had a target share of 9.7%. So, I mean, he has the ability to catch the ball from a PPR standpoint, that's something that we're definitely excited about. So, it was mostly on checkdowns and that type of thing. But nonetheless, he isn't a liability in the passing game, which is all you want out of a running back. So, I mean, he is, again, let's talk about his draft capital, right? I think he is a day 2 likely guy. I can't see him getting out of day 2. He is arguably a lock as a round 1 rookie pick as well. As far as the fantasy outlook, man, I think he has got, NFL quality starter size. I mean, I think he has the ability, if someone takes him in day 2 as well, that's what we have. So I forgot to talk about his athletic profile here. I'm going to put it up here real quick for you to take a look at. He didn't really participate, so there's not much to talk about, but he did have a pro day, like I said. I think he ran a 4.5 or something. I'm not 100% sure. I should know, but I don't. But nonetheless, Isaiah Spiller comes in at number 3 for me. All right, coming in at number 4, all right, I'm really excited. I've always been a Brian Robinson believer. He goes to Bama. He has been just a solid back this year. He had to wait his turn behind Najee Harris, Damian Harris, and Josh Jacobs. I mean, so he's had to wait his turn. He is a senior, so he's a late declare, which I know a lot of people aren't going to like. But, man, he was first-team All-SEC this year, running for over 1,200 yards and 16 touchdowns, 6'2", 225-pound bruiser. Watching his film, he's just, I think, the most physical running back in this class, without a doubt. He lowers his shoulder. He'll just lean into somebody. He's a good long strider. He's got some jump cuts and some good awareness and some lateral ability, which is like super important, obviously, as a running back. So I think he's got some good footwork, and he's able to, really, penetrate the second level. I think he's an underrated pass catcher. I think he's, I don't have exactly how many catches that he had, but I put some things out on Twitter earlier that he has the ability to catch the ball. He had an 8%, catch rate, so he was used in the passing game. I think he's one of the best pass protectors in the draft. At the Senior Bowl, he was just killing it as far as pass protecting for quarterbacks, so NFL teams are going to love that. So looking at his athletical profile here, I mean, he was in the 17th percentile for 4.5 40, which isn't terrible, but his speed score was pretty good in the 85th percentile. So I think he's got the ability. So for me, he's at my number 4 because I'm about size, right? I think this guy's 6'2", 225. If you look at all the running backs in the NFL, the top backs, all of the best backs have some size. Most of them are over 215. That's what you need in the NFL. So I think he possibly is a day 2 pick as well. He might sneak into day 3. But I think that he could be a day 2 pick in the NFL draft. As far as the rookie drafts, he is a solid second-round pick. I've not seen him go in the first round in rookie mocks, only because there's too many wide receivers people are getting their hands on, and most are PP or Superflex rather, and taking quarterbacks. But I think he could possibly be a day 1 starter if he gets that day 2 draft capital. If he falls into the day 3, into the 4th or 5th round, then he's maybe a backup. But I think if he's given the opportunity with a good offensive line, I think he's going to need holes to be created for him. I don't think he's one of these guys that's going to really create for himself, but nonetheless, big physical NFL back. I really like myself some Brian Robinson. All right. Coming in at number 5, this is my first kind of third down back I'm throwing in here, and this is James Cook out of Georgia. He is the younger brother of running back Dalvin Cook. Just started 6 games in 4 years for Georgia, so he doesn't have a lot of tread on his he's got a lot of tread on his tires, rather. But, he worked behind with ZAMIR White. I mean, they were the 1-2 punch for Georgia this year. We know they won the national championship, and he really excelled in those championship games. You saw his ability to catch the ball. But he's averaged over 6 yards a carry for 4 years at Georgia, and this guy is not going to be the bell cow. He's not going to be the guy that is going to run in between the tackles. He's 5'11", 199 pounds, but I think he's got some vision. I think he's got some quickness, some decent lateral agility. His contact balance isn't the best, but this kid, I think, is going to be used out receiving. I think personally he is the best receiving back in this class. I know RACHAAD White, we're going to talk about here shortly. Everyone's really thinking he's the guy, but give me James Cook over RACHAAD White all day, every day. Playing in the SEC, has that ability to fill in, I think, if he lands on an NFL team that has the ability, has a guy that's like the pounder. I think James Cook could come in and fill admirably in if there's an injury for a few games to run in between the tackles. But this kid is going to be used outside, I think, in the backfield as a weapon, as a threat to catch the ball out of the backfield, as well as being a wide receiver. So his athletic profile confirms a little bit what we saw. He had a really good 40 time of 4.42, so that's in the 95th percentile. So he's got a little bit of wheels to him. He's got some speed score here, 77th percentile too. Burst score wasn't great, but nonetheless, I mean, you're taking James Cook here for his PPR opportunity in the NFL. So I'm seeing him in day 2 draft capital as well. So he's, again, one of these borderline day 2, day 3 guys. It's going to be really interesting to see how the NFL this year values these running backs. But if there's a team out there that has a good, solid 1-2, guy running the first and second down and needs some sort of explosive playmaker that can put all over the field, I think James Cook is the guy in this particular class who can fit the bill for that. So he's an early second round. He's a late second round and early third round pick in your rookie drafts. And again, I think in the NFL, his fantasy and dynasty look like is going to be a guy who is going to be like a Swiss Army knife type player, a kid that can run between the tackles if he needs to, but mostly will be used on the outside. So I like myself James Cook at number 5. Coming in at number 6, I'm going back to the well with a bigger back who's got the physicality that I like to see in running backs. And number 6, I got ZAMIR White. All right, so he's kind of like the forgotten running back from the Devy community. He came out, he was a very high prospect many years ago, coming out of high school, and was kind of forgotten about, but now he's back in the limelight here as we look at this running back class and see that there's a lot of not of elite players, but nonetheless, ZAMIR White, man, has got the size, 6 foot, 214 pounds, and he is just a bruiser. And, he's coming off 2 ACL tears, which I know a lot of people are concerned about, but he tested really well at the combine. We're going to look at that here in a second. But, man, this guy is well built. He is solid. He has shown some nimbleness, running at Georgia this year. I mean, I was really impressed this year. I think he's finally over his 2 ACL tears. He showed some lateral ability, showed some burst. I mean, the guys can lower the pad. I mean, he's not an elite elite runner by any means, but nonetheless, again, when you're looking at running back, size matters, man. So give me ZAMIR White here early in my ranks at number 6. I would be excited to take him in my rookie draft this year. His athletical profile, he really impressed, right? At the combine, it was really good. He was in the 90th percentile for a 40-yard dash and a speed score. So he came in with a 4.440, which showed that he's got the speed, he's got the, the ability to be quick on the field, and I think he's over his 2 ACL tears, which, I guess in today's society, nobody cares about ACL tears anymore. So he played very well the last 2 years, injury-free primarily, and I like myself some ZAMIR White. I think, again, he is a late day 2, day 3, early day 3 pick. It's, again, one of these borderline guys. I'm not sure where he's going to go, but nonetheless, I think he's going to get the draft capital at least round 4, I'm thinking. That's why I have him in my projections here. As far as a rookie pick, he's going solidly in round 2 after all those wide receivers are off the board. He is coming, he's one of those, backs that are taken number 5, 6, 4, backs in rookie drafts, all right? And as far as the fantasy outlook, I'm not sure a team's going to take this guy and be a day 1 starter, but I think he could possibly be a part of a committee and come in and be that banger if a team already has maybe a pass-catching back. All right. Coming in at number 7, I'm going to go with Mr. Jerome Ford. All right. This is where it starts getting dicey for me. This is where it starts getting, taking your guys, right? Those top 6 guys I'm pretty confident with. I'm going to be taking them in the majority of my rookie mock drafts or in my actual rookie drafts. This is where it starts getting to be take your guy. All right. So I'm just going to give you my guys in the order that I would most likely take them in a draft. I'm going to go with the Jerome Ford. He went to Alabama, but he obviously played, for Cincinnati this year. 5'11", 210 pounds. He rambled for over 1,300 yards, averaging 6.1 yards a carry. All right, and he had 21 receptions. So the kid can catch the ball out of the backfield. So he's a really good north-to-south runner. On this YouTube channel, I've got a film breakdown on this kid, so you can really dig into his film and see what his game is all about. But he runs low. He runs through the contact pretty well. He's got good change of direction. He's got some good feet and stuff like that. My big concern for him is his lack of play strength, rather. Seems to go down on contact pretty easily. He does fight for extra yardage, but I don't know if he's got that play strength to really be an RB1 on a team. His athletic profile at the combine, was certainly above average. He was in the 87th percentile for the 40, as well as in the 80th percentile for a speed score. His burst score was unimpressive, in the 18th percentile. But nonetheless, he's got the requisite size that we look for in running backs at 5'11", 210 pounds. So where's his? I think likely he is a day 3 pick. I think he is an early day 3 pick. I think in the rookie draft as well, he is going in the 3rd round. He may sneak into the 2nd round if a team reaches for a running back, but I'm thinking he's more of a day 3, a 3rd round pick in your rookie draft. And as a fantasy outlook, I think he is definitely going to be part of a committee. He might get an early peaksy in, with an opportunity if he finds himself in a team with an opportunity, but he also might get drafted on a team that has a quality starter, and he's a depth piece as well. So again, draft capital matters, landing spots matter. We are going to have to see how that works out. Coming in at number 8 is probably a guy that most people are thinking, why the hell haven't you mentioned his name yet? And well, here he is, Mr. RACHAAD White. Okay, RACHAAD White was a JUCO transfer who blossomed at Arizona State. Older prospect. This year he had over 1,000 yards rushing and totaled over 1,400 yards from scrimmage. Certainly a great pass catcher. He's 6 foot, 214 pounds, decent runner. So he's got that requisite size that we're looking for. Now, RACHAAD White is probably the RB 4 and 5 for a lot of guys, and you might be asking yourself, why do you have him at number 8 and not higher? And it's really because I have questions about his ability to run in between the tackles effectively. I do, again, on my YouTube channel, have a detailed film breakdown of all 22 film of really watching this kid run in between the tackles. And I just, he played in the Pac-12. Again, these other backs I've talked about before, are playing in the SEC. A lot of missed tackles. I don't really like the way he runs with his pad level and so on and so forth. But this kid's probably going to get the draft capital you know, in the NFL. So let's take a look at his athletic profile real quick. And again, pretty solid in the 80th percentile across the board for the 40-yard dash speed score and the burst score. So he is an athlete, no doubt about it. A lot of people are excited about that. He's a pass catcher for you. So in your PPR leagues, you're loving this kid because you think he's going to come in and be able to do that. But I have a real question on his ability to run in between the tackles. So that's probably going to limit to him to a third down back opportunity in my mind. Could be wrong, who knows? But in any case, that's why he is at number 8 right now. Now, there's some people saying he's going to get day 2 draft capital. He may. I think he's more of a day 3 guy for me personally. In rookie drafts, he is coming off the board as probably the 4th or 5th running back. Not for me, but for a lot of guys. So he's going to be a round 2 guy coming off the rookie draft board. As far as a fantasy outlook, I think he could come in and be an immediate third down back for a team that has an established starter. I don't see Rachaad White coming in and being given the opportunity to be the RB1 beginning next fall on an NFL team. All right, so let's keep moving on here. We got number 9. I'm going with one of my favorite guys, Tyler Badie. I almost put him above Rachaad White because Tyler Badie gets no respect when it comes to pass catching, right? Everyone you think in this class and they talk about, oh, the best PPR back, it's Rachaad White, it's Rachaad White. Well, man, I'm telling you, Tyler Badie ain't so bad himself. You know, he had an 18% target share. Rachaad White also just previously had an 18% target share as well. So there you go, right? These two guys were heavily involved in the passing game. This kid ran in the SEC. He had 5 games in the SEC over 200-yard games. All right, he is a tough physical runner. Now, he's a little bit undersized. He's 5'8", 197 pounds, so he doesn't meet that threshold of 205 pounds that I look for. But man, he's got a BMI of 30, so he's got the, you know, he's got the strength and the ability. I think he could be like a James White in the NFL if he lands in an opportunity. But let's look at his athletical profile here real quick. You know, 90th percentile for the 4.45 40, and then, you know, speed score and burst score, you know, weren't great, kind of sliding scale there as you see on the card there. But nonetheless, I like Tyler Badie. Again, he played in the SEC, showed some toughness, has good contact balance, has some wiggle, has some good footwork, has some good burst. So again, I think, you know, if we're all talking about Rachaad White being this great PPR back, I don't know. I think Tyler Badie's not far behind as an option for an NFL team to be a weapon used in the backfield, as well as maybe lining up outside just a little bit and getting this kid in space. So like I said, he's probably a day 3 pick. No doubt about it. He's not going to be around a day 2 guy. In rookie drafts, he is a solid 3rd round rookie mock drafts that I've been in. He's not going to make it past the 3rd round. I think it's because people see his pass catching ability. In his fantasy outlook, I think again he's going to be a backup who, you know, we got to hope that gets an opportunity to get his hands on the ball and be part of a committee in a backfield in the NFL. All right, coming in at number 10, I'm going back to the bigger back in is Dameon Pierce from Florida, 5'10", 218 pounds. Again, we are in take your guy territory here. All of the remaining players here, in my mind, have warts. They have question marks with their game. You know, we're all been talking for a long time how this is not a very deep and quality running back class. So a lot of these guys that you're going to see are going to have kind of, things that they do well and things that they don't do well. But this is where you take your guy, man. You don't, you get all your lists together, do all your research, but when it comes down to it and you're in your rookie mocks, man, or you're in your actual rookie drafts, you have to make the decision. So these are just my opinions here. So 5 foot, 218 pounds. This guy is solid, low center of gravity, good frame. He was the leading ball carrier for Florida for 2021 and 2020. He only has 400 touches. You know, he's under 400. I think he has like 320 touches for his 4-year career at Florida. So again, a guy that was not used a lot. He really performed well at the Senior Bowl. He is just, again, a grinder in between the tackles on this YouTube channel as well. I've got a detailed film breakdown on him at all 22 film as well. So go take a look at that. You're going to be able to see his space creation on, for yourself if you go back and watch that film. I think he's got decent vision and ability to navigate through the tackles, but he's not a guy that, in my mind, is going to win on the outside, who's got the speed and elusiveness to kind of, go around, and that's what you'll see on that film that I did for him. So let's take a look at his athletic profile here. I mean, he just shows that he's an average athlete across the board, and I see that on film too. Again, he's got the size, he's got the requisite size that we're looking for, but again, he's under 50% for the majority of his workouts here at the combine. So which kind of tells you that he's just not a very bursty athlete. But nonetheless, what does his draft capital look like? I think he is a day 3 pick without a doubt. I don't see him getting into day 2. In our rookie mocks, he is really a late 3rd, early 4th. Now, there's some guys that I've seen are taking him late 2nd because of the size, playing Florida, and get that. But again, that's where we are. It's you take your guy. If you like Dameon Pierce and you're in your rookie draft, you take him where you think you need to. As far as a fantasy outlook, I think he's a backup. I think he's going to be drafted as a depth piece for an NFL roster. Don't see him ever leading a backfield. I'd see him being a depth piece, maybe being part of a committee at the NFL level. All right, that was my top 10. Let's round out our last 5 here. Coming in at number 11 is HASSAN, Haskins, a guy that really was off the radar for a ton of people here before this year. If you watch college football, he was the Michigan offense this year. Over 1,300 yards, 20 TDs, 6'2", 228 pounds. He's got that nice size. He's just a downhill, in between the tackles, banger, physical guy. He's just nothing flashy about this guy at all. He's just a north-south runner. And an interesting stat here, he has never fumbled the ball for 476 touches in 4-year career at Michigan. The guy has never put the ball on the ground. So that is a good thing. Must have strong hands. So that's certainly a interesting tidbit stat I came across. But there's not much to look at his athletical profile because he didn't participate at the combine. Not sure at this moment in time recording this film if, in fact, he had his pro day or not. But I don't think he's going to have that top-end speed and athleticism that we're looking for in a dynamic running back. I think he's not a breakaway runner. I think he's more of just a grinder. Again, draft capital, day 3 guy without a doubt. He is in our rookie mocks, he's going to be a 4th or 5th round. That's where I've seen him going off the board. And as far as a fantasy outlook, he is a backup in my mind as well, with the majority of these backs that we're going to be talking about here are most likely going to be backups. But HASSAN Haskins, I got him here higher than probably most people just because of his size. And he was super productive at Michigan. And he could just be that good backup guy who could come in and fill in. And if he finds himself in a good situation, he might find himself getting the ball a lot earlier in his career than we think. Coming in at number 12 is a guy that I just can't quit, a guy that I fell in love with 3 years ago at Texas, KEAONTAY INGRAM. All right, 6 foot, 221-pound back. Now, he got out of Texas and transferred to USC this past year, and I was really excited to see how he would be used. He had a pretty good season, 911 yards, 5 TDs. He averaged 5 yards a carry this year. His target share was 6.5, so he certainly got the ball out of the backfield. So I think that's where he's got the ability to win. But this is like my biggest sleeper of this show, right? Here's a guy that I think is going to get day 3 draft capital, which we'll talk about here in a minute. But he could maybe surprise, and maybe a team falls in love with him and takes him earlier than we think. But, man, I really like his ability. You go back and watch his freshman tape, man, he was electric. He was a very, very highly ranked Devy running back, went out after his first year at Texas. Then it all kind of fell apart, kind of rebirthed his career at USC, but I think he's got the ability to run between the tackles. I think he can catch the ball out of the backfield and be a weapon in the passing game. So he's just a guy that I like, and I'm going to keep him in my top 15 here. I'm going to draft him in every one of my rounds. His athletic profile here, let's take a look at it. All right, so again, nothing great, but it's not horrible either. He's above average in the 40, and as far as the speed score and the burst score, all above 50%. So again, he's not the most elusive and electric and athletic back that we have in this class, but he's certainly not the slowest and either. So again, I think he is a day 3 pick as far as draft capital. In our rookie rounds, he is a 5th round pick in our rookie mock, in our rookie draft. So he's a guy that if you like as much as I do, I think everyone's going to pass on him. He's a name no one's talking about, but I'll be taking him in most of my rounds, especially after I see where his landing spot is. But I think he's a backup in the NFL at best. Again, with maybe we'll get lucky and get an opportunity. All right, coming in at number 13, this is a guy that breaks my heart to have him ranked so low. But Tyler ALLGEIER, for you guys that are watching this that know that I've been a Tyler ALLGEIER fan for a long time, you've probably been waiting to hear his name called on this show. But I have to be true to what I see on the field, and I'm not going to get hung up on a player that I liked early. I got to be real and think about what are his what is his option and ability to get on our dynasty rosters. So I've been a huge fan of Tyler Algier. He's got the great size, 5'11", 225, got the good BMI at 31, everything that we look for as far as size. He's a big, bruising running back. He can catch the ball out of the backfield. He played linebacker a lot as well. So he was previously in my previous show that I did on this channel. He was my number 8 back, but he came in and really bombed in the combine, and that's not something that we can just ignore and think that it doesn't matter, because it does. So let's take a look at his athletic profile here. Again, he was ran a 4.640, and that's the 47th percentile, as well as the speed score coming in here at 64th, which isn't bad, but his burst score was low. And that's my big ability. When he came into the season, his second year at BYU, basically playing running back this year, the big thing that I wanted to see from him was his elusiveness and his ability, his lateral movement, his burst coming out of his breaks, navigating through the line of scrimmage. And it's just nothing that I saw, and I think this testing at the combine confirms that he's more of like a plotter than he is kind of a burst and an athletic player. So I think he would really work well in an outside zone system where he could then pick his holes and do that. So we'll have to see. But nonetheless, I think Tyler Algier is a day 3 guy. I pick him probably in the 3rd or 4th round of my rookie drafts. He's most likely a 4th round pick in most rookie drafts. And as far as the fantasy outlook, I mean, he's going to be a backup. If he gets an opportunity, I'll be very surprised. But I think, again, he is going to be a depth piece at the NFL level. All right, a guy that you're probably also waiting to hear his name called and been like, what are you doing, Brandon? Where is Pierre Strong? Where I have him here at number 14. All right, so Pierre Strong, all right, 5'11", 207 pounds, just killed the combine. We're going to take a look at that here in a second. The dude has produced 3 1,000-yard rushing seasons, averaging over 7 yards a carry. I get it. Recorded 62 receptions, scored 43 times over his career. Some people are saying he's possibly a day 2 pick. So let's take a look at his athletic profile here real quick. Then I'll get into what I think of his film. All right. So look, he just killed it here in the combine. 97%, over 90%, 99th percentile in 40-yard dash, 4.37. Burst score here, 113. That's 94th percentile too. So again, so you're asking myself, why do I have him at number 14? Because I'm a film guy first and foremost, and just because you're fast running in shorts at the combine doesn't mean that you can play football. My biggest concern with Pierre Strong is his lack of play strength and his contact balance and his build and his lower half. If you go and watch his film, you're going to see that he goes down very easily on contact. I don't care how fast the kid is or what his stats were. I mean, come on, man. He played for South Dakota State. I doubt these stats would have been the same if he played in the SEC or the Big Ten, right? So I'm concerned about his level of competition, but when you watch him run the football, he runs through a lot of lanes that are wide open, that is getting all this chunk yardage, and that's great, but that's not going to be there in the NFL. I'm concerned about his play strength. I think he folds like a lawn chair on contact, and I don't care what he tested at the combine. I can't get behind a guy who played at South Dakota State as a running back who he's going to be a backup to me. All right, so we saw his athletical profile there. I think he is a day 3 pick. I know a lot of people are thinking after the combine that vaults him up into day 2. I'm not buying that. I think in the rookie draft, people are going to reach for this kid in the 3rd round. I'm going to wait till the 4th or 5th. If he falls and finds himself in a good landing spot, I'm going to be in. But other than that, I'm most likely going to be out. I think he's a backup and part of a committee, and I think he's one of these exciting players that always emerges pre-NFL draft because of a good combine, and people get all excited and then end up just being nothing in the NFL. That's where I feel like Pierre Strong is. Sorry to be a downer if you're a Pierre Strong guy, but I'm just calling it like I see it. All right. The last guy to come in on my top 15 running back show here is Mr. Ty Chandler. Played at North Carolina, transferred from Tennessee this year, had a great season at UNC. Had 1,000 yards, 13 touchdowns. I don't know. I think this guy kind of did really well also at the combine. Let's take a look at his athletic profile here real quick. Again, the 96th percentile, 4.38, 110 as well, 92 speed score, 92, 92nd percentile rather. You know, he had a modest, you know, target share of 6.4. He caught 15 balls in 2021. He has some shiftiness and so on and so forth. Kind of like him. He's 5'11", 204 pounds, so he's a little undersized. He's pretty much the same size as Pierre Strong. But again, so he's one of these later guys. You could call Ty Chandler a sleeper, if you will, for me. I just think he really looked pretty good. You know, his draft capital, he's a day 3 guy without a doubt. His rookie pick is he's a late 4th, 5th round rookie pick for you. A guy that you could pick maybe, you know, if he falls in a great spot. But the kid can run between the tackles a little bit. He's got some shiftiness. He's got some power, you know. Again, I mean, we're talking about the 15th ranked running back. Let's not kid ourselves. If we're lucky to get 6 or 7 backs on our dynasty roster out of this class, I'll be thrilled with that. So a lot of these guys, like I said, they've got strengths, they've got weaknesses. Ty Chandler's just a player that I've liked. I've always kind of liked him at Tennessee. I think he was underutilized. And then at UNC, I think he had a really good season. And again, I think he is, you know, a backup at the NFL level and could be part of a committee, but we'll have to see how it turns out. All right, so there you go, man. They are my top 15 running backs in this class. So feel free to let me know what you think, man. Leave a comment on the comment section below, and you know, probably do another one of these shows after the draft where we get draft capital, we get landing spots. Then we can really hone in and see where these guys are going to be available in our rookie draft. So, all right, man, thank you so much for watching. And again, hit that subscribe button. And I'm trying to grow this channel. Got lots of good rookie stuff coming. And we also have a ton of Devy stuff headed your way. So, again, thanks for watching.